Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with Barry Jones. Barry, I really appreciate it. Let's jump straight into it. The weights and the weigh-ins, what did you make of it?
Zhang was huge. I think that's 20 and a half stone. That's crazy. I think that's 3 stone on Joseph Parker. That's absolutely. But Joshua's weight was good. I know he's given away a fair bit of weight against Ngannou, but it's not going to be about the weight for him. It's going to be about keeping his shape, discipline, and patience. I think for Anthony Joshua, that's going to be important for him. And not to be season opening, not to really rush too much, because Ngannou is a big, solid unit who's decent on his feet. And, I think if he rushes in too quick, he might get tagged himself. And I think that's important that he keeps his shape all the time, which he does quite often. But the discipline of just landing with the jab, don't get too carried away, and wait for you feel something before you really commit to that right hand.
What's the difference in mentality in a fighter when you know you're up against someone who's bigger, taller than you, and in those moments where it's physicality, he's got the edge over you? That's what Anthony Joshua is going to face tomorrow night.
You've come to the right guy about that, mate, actually, because that was my whole career. But, it's difficult. You've got to be wary that, that if you get close, they're going to be the strength. But it's not speed and timing can outdo strength. I think, and Joshua has pretty good feet. Maybe in straight lines in and out, but he can quickly change the judgment of the distance all the time. The distance to affect Ngannou's reach and when he's going to throw punches. You've got to make him reactive. You've got to go first, so he has to think about what he has to do to counteract you. And so if you just punch and hold your feet, he'll just punch back because you're there. That's easy, relatively, unless the punch hurts you. But if you keep adjusting the distance with your feet in and out, then he has to try and time that movement, and that's another thought process which slows down when you're not experienced, and even if you are sometimes, slows down your punches enough for then you to get back in and go bam bam really quick. I think Joshua was quite good at that in his career. And if you can get that back, I think that's the key to victory for me.
I saw a statistic and it said that in common opponents between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua has stopped or knocked out every single common opponent they've had between them. Does a stoppage for Joshua against Ngannou add fuel to the fire that Tyson Fury is on the decline?
Possibly, yeah. We do. See, I've sort of said this because I think that Fury's last stellar performance really was February 2020 against Wilder in the second fight. The third fight was a great fight to watch, but that was his last stellar performance. The other performances, he's done what he's wanted to do, he's just done enough. And Ngannou, he was awful, and he knows that. He had an off night, that can happen. And Ngannou was great. I don't want to discredit Ngannou's performance, of course, but that's just the reality of it. Maybe there is, but they don't box often enough to really see it. That's the problem. You can have an off night, but when you're boxing 3 times a year, you'll have an off night in the middle in one fight and 2 good fights. You're boxing once every 18 months or whatever it is. He boxes once a year. It's hard to judge, but there might be. We don't know. That all those years of abusing his body before he got in shape there might be a residue still from that. Even though he's got fit and he's great now, but there still might be it takes miles off the clock, if you will. Who knows? Well, it's hard to judge it. It's like saying, how good is Ngannou? That's the next question. How good is Ngannou? Should he be in the top 10 in the world in the WBC rankings? I don't think he should, but it's still hard to gauge how good he is. You just don't know. But I think boxing someone else, a top 3, 4, 5 in the world, which is Joshua clearly is, will tell us how good Ngannou is. And if he can get the win, then he's a phenomenal freak of nature that can put his hand to anything. You have to say that. You have to say he's a generational talent, not just in boxing, in sports. To do what he's done already, even though in a defeat, is maybe the greatest debut in boxing history. Though he lost, I know, but still, the way he performed and how close he took Tyson Fury to a split decision or a close points win. If he can do that to Joshua or lose or win even, then it's just I can't get my head around it. I can't get my head around. Are we even discussing a novice who had one fight and lost should be even remotely in a competitive fight against a former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world? But it's realistic.
Barry, very lastly, I don't know if you can get your head around this. I don't actually have a question for this because I don't know what to take of this myself. Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Oh yeah, it's do you know what? Roll back 6-7 years ago, and I'm moaning and groaning, and I'm going, but no, you have to roll with the times. Times change, unfortunately, not always for the better, and it'll be a sparring session. That's what it'll be. It'll be a money grab, and people will watch it. So I don't have too much I don't have too much to care about it. No, it's not going to be a real boxing fight, though. I argue how, with having a boxing license, how that'll be commissioned, and how a boxer will be allowed to fight outside of the boxing rules. I don't know how that works. In the British boxing world, it would be different. You wouldn't be allowed. In America, you go to another state, you can do what you want, maybe. Who knows? But it'll be a massive draw, won't it? You got still the biggest name in boxing. Still Mike Tyson, the most recognisable name in boxing, one of the most recognisable names in boxing history, against a massive star in Jake Paul.
One of the most recognisable names in boxing.
One of the most modern recognised names in boxing. It's true, it is, isn't it? Unfortunately, and that's how it is. I haven't got an issue with Jake Paul. He's trying. He boxed a real boxer the last time. How good he was is irrelevant. He did. So we can't keep harking on about that. But this fight's not a boxing fight. It's not a boxing match. This is not a real fight. It's an entertainment value thing that I won't watch. Is it on DAZN?
I'm not sure of a broadcaster just yet.
Okay, if it's on DAZN, I'll watch it. Anywhere else? No. I won't watch. I won't watch that. It's not for me. But I'm not the target audience, of course. So that's no problem. But So it's madness. Maybe we're gonna have Conor Benn versus the great Manny Pacquiao, which is like another crazy fight, isn't it? You never see that coming. So who knows? I mean, look what we got now, and what we're going to get in Saudi in the future. Who knows? It's just the world's gone mad, and some of it's good, some of it's not so good. But either way, let's just got to go with it, damn you.
Moving with the times. I know you're on the move, Barry.
Yeah,
pleasure's all mine.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Dan.
Cheers, Barry.